Good morning, Wrestling Inc. Welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am almost every Friday to have some fun to talk the news of the past 24 hours. It's our good friend Christy Olson. Christy, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Thank you so much, Nick, and happy Friday to you. I was on a little vacay to NYC last weekend. I had a great time, but I did miss you all, and I am really excited to chat some wrestling news with you today.
How was the vacay? What's the scoop here? How'd that go?
It was absolutely fantastic. I think, like most people in the wrestling industry, I have been to New York many times, but pretty much only seen like the hotel and a studio in Barclays Center. So this was a really fun visit with a friend who just moved there for kind of like a birthday weekend. We did all the rooftop lounge tour, all the fancy New York stuff, and it was a ton of fun. So,
oh my God, rooftop lounges. That's my favorite thing. Those are
mine too. I'm kind of cheesy like that, but it's okay.
No, that's fine. Hey, speaking of before we get to wrestling, I had to ask you cover a lot of pop culture stuff. Did you see the trailer for Netflix's Sexy Beast, the new Masked Singer reality dating show that they've got going on over there?
I have not seen the trailer, but I have heard that there's a lot of chatter in the wrestling world over what fans have noticed in said trailer.
Wait, what did the wrestling fans notice in the Sexy Beast trailer? What am I missing here?
Wait, isn't that what we're getting to? Don't we think that somebody's going to be on there?
I have no idea. I just was bringing it up because I thought it was a weird thing. Is the wrestler going to be on Sexy Beast? I had not heard that.
I mean, they would be silly not to tap into the WWE audience, right? Or AEW, I guess.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing. People looking like dolphins dating each other. Anyway, hey, Sharon Jones. What's up, everybody? Alonzo Smith. Hello, Christy, Nick and Christy. Hello, Alonzo. Hello, Sharon. We have a great show planned for you here today. We're going to talk the news of the past 24 hours here to wrap up the week. If you're listening to us in audio form, you know the deal. After the news, we're going to play you the latest interview. We're going to have part one of our new correspondent, Drew Rice's interview with Lodi from WCW and Ravens Flock. We're going to have Lodi. Wow. I know, right? Deep cut. So Lodi's in the house here. This is only part one. We're going to play part two next week. If you're watching us in video form, you can catch it over 1 Eastern on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel if you want to chat along with it there as well. And so that's it. We got Lodi here. We got news. We got Christy. And at the end of the show, for everybody, we will dive into the mailbag. We're going to look at possible WWE dream matches for AJ Lee. Neftali Rodriguez also saying, hi, guys. Yes, wonderful. It is time. News you can use. News will leave a bruise. We are going to start off here with a report from the Matmen podcast saying WWE has big plans for superstars who are going to be switching brands in the 2021 draft. Their WWE is set for a somewhat of a reset after SummerSlam on August 21st. The draft will be a week later. It was noted the goal is to give this year's draft a bigger feel than previous years for obvious reasons, such as to boost ratings and get fresh storylines. It was noted that this will be a unique opportunity to hit the reset button as the draft typically provides. We noted earlier this week there'd been talk Big E going to Raw, possibly reuniting the New Day. So, Christy, the draft is where we're going to start here. What do you do to make the draft new and interesting and compelling?
Oh, that's a good question. The fan interaction part of it is, I think, something that they have toyed with enough and it's worked. And I mean, you could really leave some of this up to the fans. I know that's WWE that might make them a little nervous. That's not something that they would typically do, but I think that would definitely be a way to get people's attention. And they do need something to freshen up this idea. The draft was so huge. Remember, was it maybe about 5 years ago or so when SmackDown was going back live again? And that draft was all we talked about for months leading up to it, for the weeks after in kind of the effect that it had. Ever since then, the drafts have been completely wah-wah. Right? So they do need to do something here. And I think that might be kind of the big thing to get people talking and make people feel like there actually is going to be a change. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. They kind of, the last time they did the draft, they had the Fox robot, the football robot in the room. And like there was the Fox headquarters. Then there was the Raw headquarters. I don't know, maybe like leaning into that a little bit more would help them, because like the reports of like the Hell in a Cell stuff with USA being upset that like Fox gets the Hell in a Cell with Roman, and then they lose it on Peacock. Like, there seems to be some genuine, like, fighting going on between these two networks for better WWE content or premium WWE content, whatever you want to call it,
Right. I mean, and that's something that they probably all should have seen coming and addressed beforehand. Like we knew where all these deals were going to land, right? So I'm surprised by all that hullabaloo because it seems like something that when there's this much money involved, that would have been all worked out in contracts ahead of time, right? That being said, this indicates that those executives and those kind of the suits in the boardroom are going to be the ones making some of these decisions, and that does not bode well for the best draft.
Yeah. And, because when I was thinking about the USA Fox struggle, thinking about the draft, if you leave it up to the fans, which is something you put out there, which I don't think is like a terrible idea, right? It's always better to engage your fans. But like with the way that SmackDown is just so much more critically beloved, right? Like there's more investment there. Don't you think everybody would just vote the best wrestlers to go to SmackDown and like you would get a very weird Raw roster then of misfits? Or am I wrong about that?
Right. I mean, I'm thinking one or two superstars could be up for grabs to go to either one. Not absolutely everyone. That would be a crazy free-for-all that wouldn't actually work creatively in any way, shape, or form. I think if you give maybe some of the huge superstars that people really want to weigh into, get that gimmick a little bit, and everyone else goes where they have to for the best creative, for their future.
Sure. The one I was kind of the one I'm kind of beating around the bush here about is like Reigns, right? Like, does USA and NBC Universal say, man, what you guys have done for this last year with Reigns over on SmackDown? Can we get a year of Reigns over on our USA property? I wonder if there's going to be some kind of rebalance when it comes to like appeasing the two platforms because of this year's draft,
Well, right. I'm sure Roman Reigns, of course, is the biggest name that everyone is concerned about. But what about what's going to happen with Big E? And, there are several other big superstars who them moving to the other show could really, kind of tip the scales.
I don't know. I mean, that report that came out, I forget which pay-per-view it was, the one where they had to have Reigns close it out again. And it was just like the kind of tacit acknowledgement in WWE that the only real franchise player they have right now is Roman Reigns. I don't see anybody on the roster that's even like maybe Becky, but she's not there right now. The only franchise player they have at the moment is Roman. I can't think of anybody else.
And isn't that so funny that they've put all their eggs in the Roman Reigns basket for so many years, and now it finally seemed to be working out, but now it's like shooting them in the foot.
I don't know. I mean,
irony.
I don't know that I'd say shooting them in the foot because they have a very valuable franchise player.
So they haven't invested, right? But so they haven't invested in any more than him. They have hundreds of superstars there, and they only have one person that we can say, is a franchise player that the executives want on their TV show. That's not good.
No, it's not. And, I don't want to be dismissive of Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, who are great, right? But like Lashley would need to beat Brock Lesnar, I think, to kind of really get some traction, that crossover, that notch on his belt. Like he would need a meaningful big win. Roman Reigns has already had more than a few of those that he can go back in the history books and find. Same for Drew, right? I mean, Drew did beat Brock, but it felt like such an afterthought because it happened during the pandemic. And like, he was supposed to be the other one that was going to be at Reigns' level. And he is just adrift at the moment, unfortunately,
Well, that's the thing with anyone taking a win over Brock Lesnar is the story is just going to become, Brock Lesnar must be leaving WWE for a while. Not Bobby Lashley has a big win over Brock Lesnar. I just don't know that would be the narrative if he did get that W.
I think, the Drew win over Bobby, I think was, we kind of knew Brock was leaving. And so there was kind of an emptiness there. We also kind of saw that it was a building crowning moment, and like we were all in the ways, throws the pandemic and stuff, whatever. It
was a sad time all around.
It was a bad time to be the world champion, right? Drew McIntyre did his best. Okay, I get that. I'm giving the man credit. But with Lashley, I think that if Brock came back, just because of how much fans genuinely seem to want Lashley and Lesnar, and I wouldn't fault them for having Lesnar beat Lashley. Lashley's had a very much more impactful reign than I think pretty much anybody could have ever predicted. And if as long as they have a competitive bout, maybe there's like a mutual respect there after Lesnar like beats him and takes the title. There's a way to do that. Lesnar's a marquee player. But if Lashley beat Lesnar, I think that would really send a signal. And I genuinely think there would be a lot of hullabaloo in the greater media sphere about how there's this new guy on the block who has beat Brock Lesnar. I just think it would be a different context if Lashley were to beat Lesnar now than when Drew beat Lesnar. Is all I'm saying.
You're really looking for wrestling to make some waves in mainstream sports today, Nick. I like this. Your ideas too about the draft and kind of making it more like a unscripted sport with, showing the locker rooms and the scoreboard and the who's going back and forth. I feel you today. I see what you're trying to do.
I would genuinely like it if they were like, we have a room of USA executives, we have a room of SmackDown executives, we have representatives from WWE in each room, and this is a shoot draft between both of these networks where they're like, here are the wrestlers we want on our brands. You can figure out creative tomorrow after we have figured out what these rosters look like. That would be compelling television for me. So
I'd tune in.
Oh, hell yeah, I'd tune into that. So also Alonzo Smith chiming in saying, I hope we don't just get Stephanie reading out the names of people drafted to Raw and SmackDown again this time. That was so, and I'm going to put a wiggity in front of it, Alonzo. That was so wiggity whack. And I agree with you. That was awesome.
Yeah, but I think they had to know that, right? Like, and no shade to Stephanie, but it just was uninspired. Anyone just reading them.
Yeah, Erica had just wanted to say, Christy's magnetic. Someone put her on TV now. Which maybe you should read the names for the draft.
I would love that. I just think that is the kind of the most exciting moment of wrestling for the year, and I'm so into it.
So Antonio Garcia saying the draft means nothing but authority figures and a true brand split. The true brand split, like again, I would lean into the fact these are different like networks, right? But the authority figures is kind of a good point too. Like who's doing the drafting? You put NXT into the mix. You got William Regal and Samoa Joe over there, trying to maybe convince some upper talents to come to NXT. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, Sonya Deville on SmackDown, Adam Pearce on Raw. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't have the same bite. Right.
True. But I think that's a good point.
Yeah. Let's see here. Phil, USA has been with WWE when they were on the verge of bankruptcy. USA is probably jealous that Fox is getting the best TV. I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Let's see. Logan Hollingsworth, get Fox and USA to legit draft people for the show. I agree. Let's make this a shoot, right? Let's work ourselves into a shoot. And then make it work.
It seems like they essentially already have. Like this is going on behind the scenes. Just, give us the feed to one of those cameras. I know Vince has hooked up everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Vince has cameras watching everyone all the time. Is that what you're insinuating right now?
Well, at least at the PC, yeah.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, you could there's like a whole wall, right? They just go over there. And you can see everything going on at any moment.
Everywhere in the place.
Kind of creepy. Neftali here jumping in when I was talking about Roman Reigns being only franchise. Sasha Banks also franchise. I agree with that, but she's playing down right now so that Bianca can shine in this moment. I think there's a case to be made though for Sasha being a quote franchise player at the moment though. She's definitely branched out.
Well, yes, and when you think about who they look to in the big moments, WrestleMania and those kinds of things, big feud with Bayley, all of that, Sasha definitely is. That's a great point. She is one of their franchise players.
I agree about that. And then we also have Eric Roberts here saying Big E to Raw and draft to face off Lashley for punking out Xavier and Kofi. I've heard that,
a little payoff from a storyline.
Well, you have Lashley, right? Woods in the cell, and he dominates Woods, right? And with MVP's help, you're gonna have Kofi here at Money in the Bank. Maybe the next step there is SummerSlam with Big E. Maybe that's how 1, 2, 3 it goes up the ladder there.
That makes sense.
Sure. I mean, I get it. It's just like Big E, Lashley, and then you're gonna have Roman and maybe Cena on the other side. Like one of those things just seems bigger than the other, doesn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. More than just a little.
Antonio Garcia here, by the way, saying if Edge can put a successful shine on Rollins after SummerSlam, then he'll be a player. I agree with that. Yeah, Samantha here was asking what about Rollins, and I just don't see Rollins hasn't made the leap out. He's still in the bubble, right? Like people outside of the bubble don't really know who Seth Rollins is, I feel like.
No, and he has been on the verge more than once over the years, but it's been a while. And he also is someone who I think when he's tuned in, when he's really trying to be that guy, then he is. But right now he's got other things going on. The draft is probably like the 5th thing on Seth Rollins' mind. And if he's not personally excited about it, then which probably just isn't likely to have a whole lot going on around him with the draft.
Yeah, I think Seth's priorities go Baby, buying suits. I think 4 is also buying suits, and then I think it goes WWE draft. I think that's right.
Maybe his mom's in there too.
Sure. She's like, okay, maybe 4's mom, but suits is 3, top 3. Need that drip. I like this one here from Noob. Asuka drafted to SmackDown because she needs to be away from Charlotte because it's getting overbooked since 2018. Yeah, I'm burned on Asuka on Raw. Send her to SmackDown. Let her play with Sasha and Bianca. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, we need her. They need to give her something. We all just think, oh, it's Asuka, and we're going to be happy to see her no matter what and all that. Yeah, throw her over on SmackDown, but it's got to be a little deeper than that. Put her on SmackDown and give her something. Yeah,
agreed. Rob Humphrey, Otis shaved his beard, became a franchise player immediately. Well, I think that we have jumped the shark on this conversation. It's maybe time for a new item. I have a love-hate relationship with Otis's booking right now. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Right? I don't know.
Does it feel lazy to you? Like, it's like, oh, it's Otis. He can just pull it off. People will love whatever he does and it'll be great. And so they're not giving him much. Like, is that the feeling you're getting? Or are you burning out on Otis a little? Or what? Let's go deep here, Nick. What's going on with you and Otis?
I like Otis, right? He's a lovable, big man. And there was a video on my Twitter feed the other week where it was a flashback to him and Tucker at some basketball game, and he just like chugged a beer to like a roaring basketball crowd and then did his little dance. And I was like, that's the Otis I want, right? With his buddy Tucker, who's always like, all right, little buddy, because I'm the big buddy and you're not that big. You're not small, but you're my little buddy. That dynamic was great. Otis, clean shaven, is like an athlete. Like when he stands there and he looks at the camera and he does this with his arms, he looks tough. I want to be there in that room where the agents or Vince himself is like, here's how you look tough, right? He feels like a guy pretending to be tough. Doesn't feel authentically tough to me. So.
Him in a suit will never come across as authentic. I don't think. That's just not him.
Hey,
they've got so many eggs in his basket that even if it's not hitting right now, I don't think they're gonna let it not hit for too long before they switch things up on him. They have a lot of faith in him, and I think they're gonna continue to be very careful with what they do with him.
Phil here said Otis should have turned heel with the briefcase and become Big O. Whatever. But while we're talking about that Money in the Bank run there, and we're talking about Otis and Tucker, I actually have an item here I'll jump to on the run sheet.
Let's do it.
Wrestle Talk. They talked wrestling. That's what they do at Wrestle Talk, I would imagine, with Tucker, who commented on his release saying, I think that Otis getting the briefcase was a real last-minute decision. I believe. I don't know that either. The truth of the matter is, no, I don't really have any set answers. I didn't get any. I feel like I was definitely lied to straight to my face on multiple occasions. Where's your shocked face, Christy? We have somebody who feels they were lied to while working with WWE and no longer works there.
This is it, Nick. This is also my shocked voice. This is how shocked I am.
This is how you look shocked. You'll do Otis. This is how you look shocked.
That's pretty good. This makes me a little sad because I think Tucker must just be right at that point in time where, he can't do anything else yet. Everyone wants to hear him talk about this release and man, to hear that he feels, that he was lied to and that these decisions that so affected his life were just kind of spur of the moment. I mean, man, it's tough to be where he's at right now. If anyone will, he'll come out of it. But, it sounds like those two just weren't meant to be together on the main roster. It was never what anyone had planned. And they had to, like you said, they had to know that. You feel it. He knows that it was a last minute decision for Otis to get the briefcase because they had no indication that he was being considered for it. You know those kinds of things. You sense them. So this makes me a little bit sad, but I think Tucker will get over it. Yes, you were lied to. That's probably the tip of the iceberg on, the shady stuff that you went through. So you'll be okay.
Yeah, you got lied to. We all get lied to, right? Here's your trash.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything you wanted to. Nobody can.
Here's your trash bag filled with stuff. Now go home, okay? All right. Hey,
try not to cry as we escort you out of the building.
Wow. Fun Friday. So talking about last minute decisions and splitting up acts that seemingly work, I'm also going to skip ahead and we're going to talk about the unique entrance of Karrion Kross that debuted on Main Event just yesterday, I believe was Main Event. It was a somewhat stripped down version of his entrance in the Thunderdome. Fans have posted it on YouTube. I saw it on YouTube and Twitter. I didn't actually seek it out on Peacock. But the entrance is obviously missing one of the better parts of Kross's gimmick, Scarlet. There was also some other special effects they're using in NXT that are not used in this debut. No smoke. It's just Kross. Have you seen it? Did you see the entrance or no?
I desperately tried to seek it out this morning, and it had been taken down from all the places where I could find it, like on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you just described it that way. And I want to point out that on Main Event, like, we shouldn't put too much stock in this, right? Because on Main Event, do they ever really give everybody like the whole shebang? Do they really care? This could have been a last minute thing. I don't think this is any indication that his entrance is going to be changed. You know, it doesn't mean for sure that they're going to be brought up to the main roster and split up. Like, let's not make too much about this, besides the fact that, we saw how his entrance was without her and all this stuff, and it's a little lackluster. Yeah. So they better keep the stuff if he does come up to the main roster now.
It felt very much like a WWE video game entrance, like kind of a generic WWE video game entrance. And I agree. I urge caution, right? Because this is Main Event and like, whatever. But at the same time, I mean, it's hard to deny that this was not a test run of what does Kross look like without Scarlet, which I think is something maybe the people on the main roster want to see. Maybe they see this act as two different pieces and not as a whole.
Exactly. If they're that great together, it means that they could both be great on their own. Why not get double the mileage out of them? Why not make double the money, get double the matches, double the press? I mean, it just makes sense to me. They don't need each other. Yes, they're great together. They're going to probably be together forever in their personal lives. But they don't need to be together. They don't need each other on camera.
You don't think so? You don't think that the act is that strong? You would maybe bust it up for parts and have him as
great. It absolutely is great, but yeah, they'll get more mileage out of separating them. Get two entrances out of it. It can still be the same. People could still love it. Get it twice in a show.
Yeah, I don't know. I am very interested to watch. I'm waiting and seeing where this one goes with Kross and Scarlet. I find it, but again, and I've said it a million times this week, in the long run, I guarantee you we are going to hear stories about how frustrated Hunter is in this period of time where he is trying to present his world champion one way, and Vince McMahon is like, oh, why did we fire Braun? We need another big guy over on SmackDown. Who you got? That guy's got a belt. Yeah, sure, but we don't need the girl. Well, wait, she's kind of hot. Does she work? She can work? All right, maybe she can work, but not with him. Different things. And Hunter's just like,
Nick, I think you probably just hit the nail right on the head there.
What? Hunter's like, come on. Really?
Well, and I would love to know too how Scarlett and Karrion themselves feel about the potential of being split up.
I would also like to know that. Well, let's see here. Mary Al Kateri. I would not mind Roman. Oh, wait, never mind. I meant to hit the one underneath it. It is Rob Humphries. But if Vince loved to do anything, it's break up combos that work and destroy cool entrances. It very much felt like post NXT Aleister Black entrance this week.
I figured that was going to come up in this conversation.
It did, man. I was like, yeah, Aleister Black had a badass entrance, and then they did this to it. They main evented it. So anyway, we also have Phil here saying they've ruined Lee Rude, Andrade Nakamura, Ricochet Black, Ember, etc. Why is Kross any different? I just get nervous. I just get nervous.
And I don't know that it's necessarily, I see it too as ruining them. Yes, because it seems like if they could be big at NXT, what is the problem? But this is just a crazy amount of evidence that what works at NXT is just not what works on the main roster.
Well, I think there's a case to be made that it could, if they gave it a chance, if they tried to build, I don't know, continuity. crazy idea, I know. Anyway, WWE SmackDown superstar Montez Ford, he underwent surgery this week. It was voluntary. It was not related to any kind of injury, not something that'll keep him out of action for a significant amount of time. It happened on Thursday, the day after his third wedding anniversary to Bianca Belair. I don't want to speculate too hard, but this sounds cosmetic if it's not injury related.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It could be like LASIK eye surgery.
Right.
A lot of things. Cosmetic. I just think that's funny because that is what it sounds like. That is what it reads like. It's like people are going, dude, Montez is getting a nip tuck. What is he going to look like when he comes back out? Which I'm sure is not the case.
And the reason I feel bad saying that because I'm like, this is a very handsome man,
Right.
like he's like, I hope he doesn't go in there and try to like Michael Jackson his nose up or something like that. I mean, he loves Michael Jackson.
He's a confident guy, and he's still pretty young. And when you got a hot wife, what do you really need to upgrade for?
Yeah, I don't think it's LASIK because I don't think you go to the hospital for LASIK because they showed him. There's like a photo of him you put out on Instagram of him like in a hospital bed. LASIK.
Yes, but isn't he also trying to play up an angle thing and trying to imply that it was something that happened in the ring when we all know it wasn't?
Yeah. They said it was. Yeah.
It could be like tattoo remoal. I mean, you just really never know.
All right, cool. All right, off the speculation train here. What kind of surgery did Montez Ford get? The Observer reporting that AEW and Impact reportedly mapped out plans for Kenny Omega's Impact World title run before he won the title from Rich Swann at Rebellion. No word yet on when Omega is going to drop the title, but the two companies collaborated on plans for the title reign and that their battle plan was mapped out before the title change. It was said that officials decided on what the title reign would consist of, which AEW and Impact wrestlers would be appearing on what shows, and when Impact can get their world title back. These factors are said to be a part of the deal way ahead of time, and it remains to be seen if the working relationship between the two will continue once Omega drops the title. What are your thoughts?
See, you would think that's what WWE would have done with Fox and USA before they worked out all these billion-dollar deals, right? Like, let's be clear. Who's going where when? When are they getting the title? When is that going to be on which show? Like, this makes a lot of sense to me. And this also proves to me that there was some kind of a plan here. I was questioning that for quite a while. But, like, this shows you that they really do have some sort of a plan to, promote or upgrade something in all this that hasn't happened yet. But there was a plan in place. What happened?
Yeah, I'm a bit with Phil here. Omega is likely going to lose to Andrade, the AAA title, so it would make sense for him to drop the AEW title first. Jungle Boy, perfect chance. It's this Saturday. It's going to be live. I thought it was going to be a pre-tape, but it's actually live this Saturday night. Him and Jungle Boy. If they're going to fall, they're all going to fall at once. I've heard it. Omega's like kind of beat up at the moment. So I don't see these titles around his waist for too much longer. I don't know if it's Jungle Boy, if they hold off to the next pay-per-view and they put it on Adam Page, who always kind of seemed like the next heir apparent to me for the title.
Yeah, because they're blowing off a lot of good stuff on these Friday and Saturday shows. And I know they're trying to pull in as many eyeballs as possible, but I'm starting to get concerned that there won't be anything left when they go back to Wednesday nights.
Yeah, they are. They're burning. And that's, and I'm seeing a lot of people here, Daniel, Phil, Montez, all debating here about whether or not Jungle Boy is the right person to take the title. I don't personally have a problem with it. I mean, they got to do something to pop a number. They have just been, and again, like, do all of these people come back as soon as they flip to Wednesday nights? You got to do something in this moment to pop a number and create some attention before you go to Wednesday nights. I don't hate the idea of that. The thing I wonder about when I read this report is the last line. It remains to be seen if these two entities are going to keep working together. Don Callis has successfully exited his position as EVP. He now works for AEW in a talent capacity. I don't know how much Tony Khan just loves being on TV over on Impact each week. That might affect the decision. Right? But big part of me thinks that this relationship does not continue after Kenny drops his title. And what does Impact look like in that vacuum when you take Omega out of the picture there? I don't know. I think it's, that's the kind of gamble we've all been waiting on here. Like, good in the moment, is it great in the long run? Did you bring a whole bunch of people in and then you're going to lose all these people again, and maybe more so because now those people that you already had see your product as even less interesting than it was before you started the relationship.
And did it really work? Did it really bring that many eyeballs in? I mean, you sound like you're kind of deeming this experiment a success. I would call it a bit more of a failure. I don't think it did much for Impact. I think
I don't want to be saying that this was, I feel like, a success. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm particularly pro this relationship, but anyway, go ahead.
But I would call this a bit of a failure. What did it do for either one of the companies? Impact didn't see an initial bump in their ratings, a small bump for like 1 week, right? Was pretty much it. And AEW has only, I think, made themselves look like they're slumming it a little bit with all of this. Like, this didn't work in my humble opinion. This did not work. It's time for it to end, and probably we shouldn't try this again for a while.
Don Callis is just a gross old man. Like, I don't see him on TV, and I'm like,
if that's the character that he's playing, he's really convincing.
Yeah, art imitates life. And look, he's a gross old man, and I don't see the kids turning on to AEW, seeing used car salesman Don Callis and being like, wow, this certainly makes the world champion look a lot cooler. Like, no part of this, again, like, I'm not sitting here saying this is a success. I'm saying, because I've talked to other people who in that bubble say, well, how can, Dave Pinzer was on here a week or so ago that was like, how can you say having the best wrestler in the world holding your title is a bad thing? And it's like, that, okay, if that's the company line in the moment, sure. But in the long run, when you remove that from your product after teasing your audience with it, I don't see you on the other side of that as strong,
Right. And also, have they built anything else in the meantime? So you have these eyes on you. You essentially hope that these AEW fans are going to tune in and start watching your product. What else have they given us in this time that would make you want to stay? This would be the time to really pull out the stops. And all anyone is talking about at Impact is Kenny Omega and the AEW relationship.
Yeah. Daniel Price here, by the way, on that note, saying the relationship with Impact was pretty much just a glorified commercial for AEW. And that's actually not a bad way of like Tony Khan got 400,000 people to watch a commercial each week or whatever. Not even that, like 150 people, 1,000 people.
Yeah, but was it anyone new? Was it anyone that wouldn't have watched anyway? Like, I mean, I think they probably brought a lot more AEW fans to Impact than Impact fans to AEW.
All right. Lastly here, good news here before we get to Lodi. MLW has signed former WWE NXT wrestler EJ Nduka. Formerly Ezra Judge. Alicia Toot revealed his name during the round 6 of MLW's draft. Just wanted to throw that in there because Ezra came on the show a month ago. Really just a great engaging guy. A lot of great reports from him down at the PC. I'm happy that he's quickly found another platform. Is going to be able to keep his name out there and his brand alive and move forward with whatever he's doing right now.
Yeah, and he's the first one from kind of that class of graduates, shall we call them, that has signed. So congratulations to him. And I expect to hear some news about some of his cohorts very soon too.
All right, everybody, that brings us to the mailbag portion of the show, the end of the show discussion. I want to thank Drew Rice so much for getting that interview with Lodi. Again, that's only part 1. We're going to have part 2 a little bit. The second part always seems to be a little bit meatier than the first. Not that that was not good. It was very good. But there's a lot of meaty stuff in part 2 as well. So we're going to roll that out next week. But
you're such a tease, Nick.
Always tease.
It gets even better. Come back next time.
We're not leading off next week with it. Okay. Next week we're leading off, by the way. Spoiler alert, Davey Richards will be the first guest of next week. Also a new MLW signing. I think the first MLW draft pick or whatever. But I did an interview yesterday, about 45 minutes, with Dr. Frank Romascavage. Do you know who Romascavage? Do you know who this is?
I do not. Should I? I bet I will now.
He predates your time in WWE, but he was the WWE doctor, or one of the WWE doctors from 93 to 2006. He rode in the ambulance with Steve Austin to the hospital after he broke his neck. He was the one who took Mick Foley's teeth out of his nose after Hell in a Cell and put them on ice. And like, it's a low-key banger is what I'm saying. And I know you're like, oh, you tease everything. Yeah, but we're going to do that one in 2 parts too. Low-key banger. You guys are going to get a kick. This guy, Frank Romascavage, Dr. Frank, what a character. I mean, like, this guy I think he owns a time machine. Like, I was like, I've met some eccentric wrestling characters. This man, wow. Oh,
I can't wait.
All right. So anyway, back to the news, back to the mailbag. So today's mailbag question comes to us, as all the mailbag questions do, courtesy of @WInc Daily, WINC Daily over on Twitter. And the question is, which current WWE superstar would you most like to see wrestle AJ Lee? Which came from this story, which I just felt like would make for a good mailbag story, and I think is something that would make you laugh. So SmackDown superstar Bayley had a Twitter Q&A last night, caught the attention of CM Punk. Punk asked, #Dear Bayley, if you could wrestle one person who lives in my house, who would it be? Bayley was responding to another fan. I guess several fans were asking her who she'd like to have a dream match wish. She said, my precious heart couldn't leave you all hanging, so I'll pick a random to answer. CM Punk, what a lucky coincidence. I would choose AJ Lee. Winner gets to take the cute man, Larry, their dog, on a walk. And then Punk deleted the tweet. Then Punk deleted his tweet asking the question. What do you think happened here, Christy?
Well, that's what I was wondering. First of all, a tweet and delete is just so lame anyway. And second of all, this was totally innocuous. Like, how could this cause any issues for anyone?
That is a great question. Here's my thought is that AJ told him to delete it because maybe she didn't want to tease fans or have him stir the pot, create. She doesn't
want to have to answer in every interview and every fan for the next year when she's coming back for this match with Bayley.
Right. Like, it's one thing for him to stir the pot about his personal life and career. It's another thing to kind of get the pot stirring about your significant other. I don't want to pretend to be looking in on their relationship in their beautiful apartment in Wicker Park. But I know my girlfriend, if I started a conversation about Liz online that created a huge amount of interest that she was not interested in talking about, would probably not be thrilled about that decision,
Oh, even CM Punk, you guys, even CM Punk has to live by happy wife, happy life, man.
Yeah. So Daniel Price here kind of agreeing, saying maybe AJ thought it would get WWE calling her and bugging her about it, and he knew better than to make wifey mad. I think that's probably very close to the truth, Daniel, if I had to guess. All right, so we'll read some responses here from by the way, the results of the poll. So Bayley, who do you want to see AJ Lee wrestle? Pretty close here. Bayley 39 over 300 votes. Bayley 39.5. Becky 36.3. Liv only got 16.2. Other write-ins there were about 8%, but almost a dead heat here. Bayley or Becky Lynch is who fans would like to see AJ Lee wrestle. If she had to come back to WWE or did to come back to anybody in mind that you'd like to see her wrestle in particular?
Yes, couple things here. I do think her and Liv together is fire, but I think as a tag team, and it's been a while since AJ Lee is in the ring, and sometimes when people come back like that, they put them with somebody, help put them over. Liv, when she was a face, used to kind of skip around the ring too, and I just think they could do some really fun stuff together. As far as an opponent for AJ, these reports that Zelina is back at the PC, I think are crap. I think she just showed up one day to help her friend Simone film something. But if it's true that she is back or going back, she would absolutely 100 million % be the right opponent for AJ Lee. They're friends. She played AJ Lee in the movie. Like, that would be the one.
Yeah, that would be really good. I lean Bayley just because I really like Bayley right now. She's a great heel. She got the conversation going. By the way, I wonder how much AJ appreciates that now we have a whole mailbag poll going right now. And we're talking nothing about dream matches of her WWE, getting fans excited about possibly returning to WWE.
Poor Punk already slept on the couch last night because of all this, and now we're just making it worse for him.
Phil, what are you doing? Phil, what are you? Philip. That's when you get called Philip. Philip, what are you doing? At DJ Esquire, New York City. I would love to see both AJ and Paige, if she was ever cleared, come back and feud again, or an AJ Asuka feud. Either one would put my butt into a seat. Yeah, AJ Asuka, anything with Asuka. Let's see. Our Damon 1982. None. If she's happy with retirement, then that's good enough for me. I think that's what Philip was told as well. So.
Oh, but that's a very sweet sentiment from the fans who of course we would love to see her in action again. But
TV movie fan here, Alexa Bliss. That could be interesting. Yeah. Sure. Let's see. She Ain't Me, anyone. At Jason Gillum, Sasha Banks. Another one for Sasha Banks here from Manny Wolf. One from Io Shirai. Another one for Alexa Bliss. All right. Then we have over here in the write-ins. I like this one. Scott Ficca. AJ Shotzi would be awesome.
That's a good idea.
I like the idea of AJ in the NXT women's division, just in general. You know?
Yeah, and if she was gonna do anything, doesn't it feel like that would be where she would go?
I don't know. I mean, like, Punk's salty because he got his termination papers on his wedding day. I don't know that AJ's thrilled her husband got his terminations on her wedding day. And
you just think it'll never happen.
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what that relationship with Hunter's like. I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? Like, Hunter seems to have said that there was some communication of some kind when he was doing Backstage, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, and money talk, exactly. Never say never. Money talks. I mean, people who had a more combative relationship with everybody there have gone back than CM Punk.
We also have
AJ Lee.
Adrian 11 UK saying AJ versus Nia Jax, and I saw a couple Nia Jax write-ins here, and just the, I guess, David Goliath kind of dynamic of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alonzo Smith here throws out Ember Moon. That would also be a banger. And then we have here, I'll do one more from Daniel Price saying Tony Storm. So
that would be fun.
So the bottom line is there are a lot of great female wrestlers in WWE right now. AJ could have a lot of dream matches, and I'm very certain she's thrilled we're having this conversation here today. So that is my takeaway from today's mailbag.
Oh, well, as we're saying, never say never anyway. It is fun to speculate because it could happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. What a really fun Friday this was. I am in a great mood. You seem to be in a good mood. I know we were both playing with our dogs before we went live.
Yes.
Maybe that put something in the air, whatever it may be. This was a phenomenal Friday. It was really fantastic to get to talk to everybody all week long. I'm going to be back on Monday. I will be joined. Who starts the week with me on Monday? Michael Weissman. He was gone this past week. Michael's coming. He missed last week's Monday, by the way, and I have not talked to him at all about this. So we're going to all find out about this on Monday. He was last Sunday at the Foo Fighters Madison Square Garden show where Dave Chappelle came out and sang "Creep" with the Foo Fighters.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
That is wild. Well, I mean, that's a pretty good scoop.
That is a big, yeah. So it's not wrestling related, but Michael be here. Michael's always good to talk news with anyway, but we're going to hear about like, what was it like to be in the Garden, the Foo Fighters first concert back in New York since the pandemic. And then Dave Chappelle crashes it. What was that like? So that's on Monday.
Wow.
Michael will be here. Davey Richards will be here Monday. Dr. Frank Roman Scavenge in the wing as well.
Can't wait.
Get excited. That interview slapped. And if you like Wrestling Inc. Daily, support WrestlingInc.com. We're on all your socials. The Wrestling Podcast is live at nights after big shows. That's also got its own RSS feed, so you can watch it in video form. Subscribe to get an audio form. And that's it. Christy, what do you want to plug, promote, put over here to wrap up today's show?
Well, it was such a fun Friday with everybody. Rob and Montez and Daniel. Hello, everybody. Samantha. Thank you all so much. And you guys can always hit me up at Christy Reports. Let me know what you're feeling, your predictions, and your speculation. And we can have a little fun. And also check out my YouTube channel, Christy Reports. And I will be back here again live next Friday with more news. That'll leave a bruise.
Yes, more news that leaves a bruise. I gotta get a shirt that says that just because I like that phrase so much. I think it's shirt worthy.
I would like to buy that shirt in 5XL and turn it into a dress.
I love it. Bam! Shot off my Nerf gun to end the week. We are having fun. We're going to be having more fun next week. I'm Nick _Hausman over on Twitter. If you like this show, also check out Pro Wrestling for Life with Sean Waltman. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you Monday. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.